Good auras and good vibes, you guys. Welcome to my first ever DIY t-shirt cutting episode. I wanted to make this episode because I actually have an upcoming dance performance. It's like an old school 90s vibe, and I was like, oh my goodness, yes, let me make this a video. So I got 3 different sizes, small, medium, I lied, medium, large, and extra large in men's. And right here I'm wearing the medium, and I'm gonna give a before and after to every shirt that I have. But right now this is how it looks before, and we're gonna go ahead and start cutting away. So the first thing you're gonna need is a good pair of scissors. That's my go-to. I don't know how long I've had these, never dulled out on me. Then you're going to need a t-shirt. I have 3 different sizes for this video. Medium, right there, and the other one is large, and the last one is extra large. And I kind of wanted to play with the sizes because I've seen a few videos. Oh, by the way, this is like my very first time ever touching scissors to cloth, so pray for me. But I decided to use 3 different sizes because a lot of them say, you know, bigger shirts the better, but I just kind of wanted to play with it and see what I get. So we are going to cut along the bottom seam of this shirt to get rid of the thick and bulky stitching. Yes, I saw this in a video, and one thing I noticed about a few videos that I've watched, and I did watch quite a few, is that they don't emphasize to make mistakes, you guys. I was super nervous to cut this, and I'm like, I don't understand why. It's just a shirt. But to be honest, if you're going for like a free flowy theme, I would definitely recommend just making mistakes, because that gives the shirt a unique personality, and it just ties into, you know, what makes the shirt even more original. So yeah, make mistakes. It goes a long way. So the next thing I want for this shirt is to cut strips on the bottom, so they're going to be like tassels, and I kind of gauged where I wanted to end them, and I just started cutting away strip by strip, piece by piece. So this part actually took me a while because I wasn't too sure how long I wanted to make the strips at first, and then I was like, well, maybe I should make them longer, and then I didn't know how thick I wanted to make them. And once again, back to what I said earlier, make as many mistakes as you can, because really none of them had any rhyme or rhythm. I absolutely loved it though, because it was just so much fun trying to figure out what the heck I was doing. So yeah, that part. Now you're probably staring at the video now like, what in goodness sakes is she doing? All right, great. What I'm doing is playing with my shirt. I'm just pulling every single tassel. That's the key to making it seem more flowy, more light, more airy. It doesn't give it so much of like a cut strips of paper look. It gives it more like a dangly kind of free look, you see? Anywho, you go ahead and you keep pulling and pulling until all of them are pretty much all thinned out and nice and tassely. Tassely? Is that okay? That's a word today. That wraps up the tassel portion, before and afters. Beautiful. Now let's add a little bit of design to the shirt. Not much, because like I said, it's my first time playing with this shirt cutting, and I didn't want to do too much, so I just started to cut into the sleeves. I really wanted to give it an off the shoulder look without too much, and also like some strips to expose some shoulder. I honestly don't know what I was doing. I was picturing like when we were in grade school and we were cutting up the paper snowflakes. That's what I was legit thinking. So I was like, I hope this works. So I pretty much mimicked whatever was on one side to the other and tried to keep it as consistent as possible. Uh, Regardless of what I was doing the other side, I'm like, we gotta keep it consistent. So yeah, that's what I did. And after I was done with that, I cut the sleeves off, the thick hemline. The same thing that we did to the very bottom of the shirt is what I did to both sides of the sleeves, to keep with the consistency of the fluidity of the shirt. I didn't want it to like just look like 2 shirts put into one. And the magic technique of pulling pulling all the sleeves, all the cuts, all of everything, to make it more uniformed and more one. The very last thing I did with this shirt is I started to cut holes near the collar. It just didn't seem right. It just didn't feel right. I was just like, what can I do to add something? Because I didn't know what the holes were doing, but I was just trying to keep it consistent. And what I should have done now, looking back on this video, I really should have just cut the collar out completely. Maybe for my next video, but yeah. So that was my design portion. And yeah, you ready for the before and afters? I think it's time. You guys, it's a vibe for me. It's a vibe. I did not think I was gonna like this shirt as much as I did, because really I was just kind of cutting up the sleeves and I was just cutting in the middle. I really did not know how it's gonna turn out, but I am so happy with this look. Like, dead serious. I probably just stood in the mirror with this shirt for forever. Like, the way that the tassels just like free form and they flow, and then the neck collar kind of like gives it a tribal look. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. And then the shoulders. Don't get me started on the flipping shoulders. I'm just like, what? Shake, shake, shake. I can't. Like, look at that. Ooh, gorgeous. Yes. Okay. I'm feeling the shirt a little too much. On to the next. All right, you guys, on to the next one. Now, this is a large in men's on me. It fits pretty loose, but not too tight. It's really cute. I used to jog in it, but I'm like, time to switch it up. So let's get started. Now, I had an idea that I wanted to make this a crop top, but I didn't know how. So why not start with a beautiful cut down the middle? Again, you guys, this is my first time doing anything like this, so there were no lines. I wasn't planning on how far up this cut would be. Now thinking about it, I was just reckless with the cutting. But after I did the main cut down the middle, I did like almost a triangular cut in the center of the shirt. I knew I wanted it to be like a tied up kind of a crop top, and I felt like that would be the best kind of cut to give it. After I got done with that, I started with the collar. Same thing, well, same principle with the other shirt. If you want it to look a little loose, getting rid of the collar and like the thick stitching on the ends really give the shirt its own little feel, and it allows you to like stretch and form to your body. So I would recommend doing that for any shirt, really. After, I wanted some exposed shoulder look, so I cut some holes on the top part of the sleeve, matching each sleeve to the other, so that this cut was pretty even. No measurement of any sort or whatever. I was just making sure that it was pretty even. Once I cut a half circle, I folded the circle in half, and then I cut the other half of the circle to make sure that it looked as close as possible to a circle that it can be. But yeah, I did that for both sides, and yeah, once I got done making the circles on both sleeves, the left and the right, I then started to like pull the holes to where I had cut them from to seal the edges a little bit and to give it its own appeal. After that, I went ahead and took the piece of cloth that I had earlier. I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna make you into a tube top, just not tonight, because we just don't have time. So I tossed it to the side, tied up the shirt, and took a look at it, and I said, needs a little something extra. Of course, distressed sleeves. I mean, the rest of the shirt's pretty much cut up. So I went ahead with the scissors and started cutting random little strips on the end of the sleeves. I didn't want to cut off the ends completely, because that just wasn't the vibe I was trying to give this shirt. So I just started cutting up the sleeves and pulling, of course, after every cut. Voila! And of course, repeat one side to the next, unless that's the type of theme you're going for the shirt, but that's not mine. So I repeated, cut, pull, stretch, finish. Before and after time, you guys. Before and afters. Hello. Between this one and the tassel one, I don't know which one I love the most. Like, I love me a good crop top. I absolutely love it. It only took me about like 30 years of my life to love a crop top, but goodness, the exposed shoulder is just what I needed, because there's absolutely no cleavage, just midriff and the shoulder, and I'm like, it just accentuates my waist, my curves, and it just gives me the confidence that I need. Like, I love this shirt. Look at it. Like, oh my God. Like front to side to other side. Come on now. Love it. I mean, even from the back, it just flatters me. Back, front. Oh my goodness. I was just turning and tossing. I said, goodness. I think I did pretty darn good for myself for the fact that I just have never ever done this before. Like, I was feeling it. I was feeling myself and this blouse, and I would just do this again in another color too, because it's just that darn cute. But yeah, on to the last one, you guys. Aaliyah, baby, come on, show your face. Now, remember in the beginning when I said it was a 90s themed dance? Yes, and you cannot have 90s without Aaliyah, duh. So I went ahead and I grabbed this extra large 90s t-shirt. Go ahead, show me with it. But yeah, so I went ahead and I grabbed this 90s t-shirt, and an extra large. It was an extra large, and I was like, I wanted it to be a little loose because this is actually the shirt I'm gonna dance in. And I was like, ooh, yes, I can do an off the shoulder type of look, but it needs to be loose enough to dance in because I did not want it all up on me and stuff. It's like, no. But yes, so it's a very, very baggy shirt, low hemline, almost a dress like, and I wanted to make sure that Aaliyah's face was the main focus. That's what I needed. Keeping that in mind, there's not many cuts that you can do to the middle of the shirt or half of the shirt or any of the shirt really without taking away from her face. Even if you were to cut like a design tassel wise or like sleeve wise, it may take away from the face, and I really wanted the focal point to be her. So first thing I started to do, grab the pair of scissors. Lovely pair of scissors. So I started with a simple straight up cut in the back. It's a vertical cut up the back of the shirt, and it's mainly for tying purposes because I knew I wanted to tie it to give my center of focus and tighter appeal. And then after I had cut it, I definitely pulled it to seal the cut, and I tried to knot it to see if it would work just in the way that I needed. But I didn't, like I said, want to do too much to the shirt to take away from the aspect of it being an Aaliyah shirt. So I just went ahead and pulled and flipped it to the front for the next cut. I started cutting the collar. I knew the collar was a little too tight around the neck. I wanted an off the shoulder look. So I started with the first cut around the collar. It was an inspiration off another YouTube video, and I should have known that the collar was a little too tight. I should have just gone away with the collar, but I actually like the end result, so stick with me here. The goal was to keep the collar, but to lose like the sleeve, but not lose the sleeve. It's kind of hard to explain. So I cut like a half a semicircle in the back side of the shirt. That's to give it a drapey look in the front. I didn't want to do it in the front because I would just lose too much shirt. And I actually had to cut that a little bit deeper because it wasn't giving me enough shoulder for me. It's the shoulder for me. But essentially, this is exactly the way I wanted it. I pulled, of course, to lock in the cut that I just made. Remember, we always pull to give it like a sealed and finished look. Without it, it just looks like a tore up t-shirt. And if that's your theme, cool, much respect to you. But after I got the collar the way that I wanted to, I went for the sleeves. I wanted to give it a distressed look, so started snipping away the same way I did with the crop top. I cut on random parts of the sleeve, and then I started pulling to seal the cuts and repeating on the other side of the shirt. And there you have it for the cuts on this shirt. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible, like I said, to magnify and accentuate the Aaliyah, the cut on the back, the off the shoulder look with the collar and the distressed sleeves. Drum roll please for this before and after. Okay, y'all, I can't roll my R's or my tongue, but drum roll please. And if at first you don't succeed, cut the shirt up and let the shoulders show. Hello. I love this shirt, I'm not gonna lie. I love it because I kept the Aaliyah intact. The little knot in the back adds for like an accentuation of the waist in the middle without exposing too much. A breathable to dance in, and that was the main point because this is my dance wear. And the collar that I kept was like, I love it. It is a necklace, like a choker. And you know, back in the day, chokers used to be like a thing. So I'm glad I kept the collar, kept it as a choker, and have the over the shoulder look that I was going for. I think it did the job. Didn't show before and after because really the shirt did not transform. It just accentuated what was already there. And that sums up my DIY t-shirt cut up video, you guys. I really hope I didn't let Miss Aaliyah down, and I definitely hope I didn't let you guys down.